giving us this platform to have this very important discussion. Okay, so with that, we're going to get into the introduction.
All right, my name is Dean Smith. I am here for the AVP3 Roundtable Union Talk.
My name is Zachary Rakovich, and I'm also here for the AVP3 Union Talk.
My name is Igor Briskin, and I'm also here for the Roundtable Union Talk AVP3.
My name is Vincent Bai. I'm also here for the AVP3 Roundtable Union Talk.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing I do want to do is recap a little bit about what we talked about yesterday in terms of what a union is. And I'm going to actually read from the leaflet that I have here. And one of the reasons I do want to get into the description is because sometimes there's a misconception of what a union is, whereas people think a union is a group of people that come in from the outside and make decisions for the workers. So what is a union? Okay, so the simplest answer is the workers are the union. A union is a fighting organization of workers, democratically run by the workers, solely for the benefit of the workers. Through their union, workers have a powerful voice at work when it comes to their compensation, benefits, safety, job security, and much more, secured in a union contract. So that essentially is what a union is. So we're gonna just take it from here. I'm just gonna open up the floor for you all to discuss some of the concerns you have perhaps at AVP3 and or why you're interested in a union.
Can we, before we start, can you make some of the corrections that we made?
Oh yes, let me start with some corrections. Thank you for that. So yesterday we said that they're capped. The wage is capped at $22.50. The correction is the cap is $20.50.
Yes.
Okay.
After 3 years.
Right, after 3 years, you are capped at $20.50. So that is the one correction that I wanted to make. And the other correction I wanted to make is we talked about how much Amazon spends on their, or has spent on their anti-union campaign. I believe we said $2 million yesterday. Well, it is actually $4.3 million that they have spent on their anti-union campaign, hiring outside consultants, which get paid $3,200 plus expenses per consultant per day. Okay.
So they actually pay the highest out of all the anti-union campaigns out there with other industries.
That is correct.
Yes.
So yeah, so let's move forward with the discussion about the union. Igor, why don't you start and tell us, why a union is important to you, your experiences.
Well, first of all, hello. And I just want to reiterate what you just said. I've been hearing a lot at work about how they don't want, the employees don't want a strange group of people coming in and telling them what to do. We are not strangers. Everybody here, we push boxes just like, and drive pits just like everybody else. If you work with a union, you're working with us and we're working with you, just like we are working with you in a warehouse. So that's the first thing I want to clear up, because that is the one thing that Amazon is pushing, that we are an outside force. We are an inside force. No, at the end of the month, I'm going to be there 3 years. They're going to cap me in a month and a half, in 2 weeks, and
what is the cap?
2050, and I have no way up. I spoke to one of the supervisors about this, one of the higher ups, not the floor supervisors, one of the higher ups. They told me that I should be patient, and they have an Amazon committee that calculates the cost of living and the inflation, and then every year they have this meeting, and then they pass down their decision to us as to how much of a raise we're going to get, and if we're going to get a raise.
Just to ask you a question, they said every year. Does that include last year, the year before?
Right.
Yes.
And what happened last year and the year before?
Yeah,
Nothing.
I remember them increasing our wage a little bit during the COVID for about 2 months when they really, really, really needed us. And then as a thank you, they took that raise right back.
Right.
And that's important,
Right.
that, because once that is in the actual binding contract, they cannot take back away what they have given or what's already on the table. Real quick for anyone that wants to call in.
Yeah.
The telephone number is 888-304-4401, 888-304-4401. Please call in and join us, voice your concerns, or if you have something you want to share with us, we are more than willing to listen, and we will answer your questions if you have questions. So please don't hesitate to call.
Right. So getting back to the conversation, this on the heels of Igor here, I do find it interesting that you said they have these meetings where they do discuss the cost of living, which are not raises we get. We do not get cost of living raises.
We don't, but according to the management, we do.
Correct.
So sometimes not everybody, and sometimes just the people that have been there for a long time,
Mhm.
and sometimes everybody, and sometimes just the new guys. But the point is, we don't have any say in how much or when we're going to get those raises.
Correct.
So pretty much they can give it to you and take it away from you whenever they want. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure if they can take it away, but we don't get to say. If they say here's 50 cents, all I can say is thank you. It's been 50 cents more than I had before, but I want to say more. If I go up to my boss and I say, boss, I want a big raise, he's going to tell me, as the British say, to bugger off. I don't want to say it in English, in American. But
Okay.
if I come up to him and say, me and 500 of my co-workers want a raise, we're gonna have a very different discussion. To me, that is the power of a union.
Correct.
If I say I'm not happy with something, they can't just brush me off or ignore me.
Correct.
Because even the representative, maybe not me, but the representative speaks for a lot of people.
Correct.
Now, another thing that's been bothering me that people have been saying, that I don't want the union to tell me what to do. Well, the union is a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
We vote. Every major decision is voted on by
Correct.
anybody who cares to vote.
It's correct.
Right now, you're being told what to do by Amazon tells you exactly what to do, and you have no recourse.
Good point.
So, a union telling you what to do, that just means you lost the vote. It's a democracy. You're going to lose a vote.
Right.
Half of us, regardless of where you stand politically, half of us every year, every 4 years, get a guy we don't like in the White House.
This is correct.
And we don't abandon democracy because of it.
Very good point.
So to say that I don't want the union to tell me what to say, well, tell the union what you want.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
And if enough people want to go with you, then you get what you want. And if you're in the minority, well, it's a democracy. I'm sorry, but you got to suck it up.
Right.
Well, in collective bargaining and also as a voice, we do sit down and listen to everyone
Yes.
and have everybody's opinion. But yes, it is a democracy, but you can't satisfy everybody. But our goal is to satisfy your quality of life.
Correct.
That's our goal.
Correct. That's the goal.
And that's very good points that you brought out. Eva. Thank
Very
you so much.
excellent points he brought up, because unionized company employees overall make more than non-unionized company employees,
That's true.
regardless. So it is, like you said, we want to satisfy a better quality of life. And as Igor, the points Igor brought out are just excellent in terms of, it's just on point. Everything was on point as far as how it runs as a democracy. We vote. We are the union, including union dues. That's voted on. The officers are voted on. Everything is voted on. And sometimes maybe the vote that you put in, you may not get the result you want in that particular vote. But like he says, does that mean you abandon democracy? as Dean said, we're not going to satisfy everyone. That's just not the way the world works. However, just overall, across the board, I think a lot of us have at least one thing in common, and that's that we want to make more money.
Yeah, and the other thing that's important is that in order for us to know, you have to have a voice. You have to speak up. You have to say something. Call in 888-304-4401. We are trying our best to look at it from the point of all Amazon workers. And we want to give a shout out to Detroit with their struggles, Amazon out there, Alabama with their struggles out there. We have other places in Atlanta. We have other places in South Carolina, North Carolina, all over. They all are joining in, and we're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger as we go. But we also need committee members. We need people to help us drive this thing, and it needs to be done in a quick time.
Yes.
Because Amazon has, by design, this mechanism of this revolving door in play.
Yes.
So we need to understand that we need to come together quickly and know what we're doing and make the right moves and make this thing happen.
Yes, absolutely. I second that. It's not designed really to be a long-term process because Amazon it has not set it up that way. They're designed for a hiring and firing process, which they do implement. The revolving door, there are people that come in, you will see a whole new group of people come in, and the next week, all but one are gone. So it's really, truly a revolving door. Now, some people leave rather quickly because of the work conditions, which is what, implementing a union, one of our objectives is to change that, to change the unfair work conditions that we work under with Amazon. It's brutal, it's physical, we damage our bodies. Break times aren't sufficient. At 8 hours, you're required to have at least 2 15-minute breaks. We have 10 and 12-hour shifts. So with that being said, there's a reason people come and go other than those that are fired.
I would like to also say something else also. The people in general that work at Amazon are hard workers. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this direct. We have right now on our panel two of the most higher rated sorters are workers in Amazon at our panel right now, probably in the history of Amazon. And that is Benny on the end there. So we want to acknowledge that. And we got a chaser right here that they rely on. And when you hear other people say that they run the docks, I've watched this man here run the docks for a long time.
Yes.
And he's not even management. He's not even supervisor.
Right.
I watched this man over here work a whole section by himself.
Yes.
And he's not a supervisor. And you're going to cap their pay?
Right.
Oh, no, come on now. That's not right. Ridiculous, right? That's not right.
Yeah. And one last thing that's been really bothering me that people are saying, but I want to clear up, is people keep telling me when I say people, I mean employees, warehouse workers, when I talk to them about the union, they say, I don't want to be forced to go on strike when I don't want to go on strike. Now, strike conditions in most unions require a 2/3 vote to strike. Now, can you imagine the working conditions we need to be under for 2/3 of your co-workers to say, I don't want to get paid, I want to strike? I can foresee those conditions coming.
Right.
And even if they do come, they're going to be damn serious enough for everybody.
There you go.
So I'm not worried about strikes.
Correct. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes.
You brought me
Very
read
good
straight
point.
from the
I'm glad
paper.
you did.
Another excellent point from Igor, and I'll just read it straight from our leaflet here. So strikes are serious business. The company does fear strikes, but strikes are rare, just like you said, and can happen if Amazon AVP3 workers vote by supermajority to authorize a strike. Amazon AVP3 workers would never get to the point of striking unless Amazon refused to bargain a fair contract. So like you said, it is very rare for us, to get to that
So
point.
tapping on that, refusing to bargain a fair contract. Well, there's federal laws and different things where it will go into court and be court ruling or arbitration. So there's other things that go in place pertaining to that. And one thing we don't want to do, and one thing we are not going to strive to do ever, is take money out of anybody's pockets by striking. Because it's bad enough that you're only making enough money to try to survive and pay your bills at this point. So we're not definitely going to look at any way of striking. It has to be extreme circumstances where you will make that decision and say, hey, enough is enough. But we know that these times are not going to allow that to happen.
Right. So I did want to ask, so Vinny, how do you feel being like the top sorter, giving Amazon above and beyond numbers, that are required and not really be recognized or appreciated for that via either your wages or otherwise?
I would say it's definitely stressful, especially when, like, in the dock area, if I'm by myself, and I go to anyone and ask for help, they look the work, and they walk away. I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'll just keep doing it by myself and just
Right.
fight it.
They take you for granted.
Yes.
There's a lack of respect.
Yes, a
Take you
lack
for
of
granted.
respect, take you for granted, don't appreciate.
But also, if you're doing that kind of work, you don't need no help.
No.
That's their mentality.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
We're not telling you to not do that kind of work, because one thing we don't want to happen is we don't want, this is my opinion, we don't want a slowdown to where later on when we get in the position to negotiate, the company can come back and say, well, if we give them this kind of power, they can hurt us by doing this and that. And that will hurt us in the long run in terms of arbitration, in terms of legal actions in court. So we don't want to give them any ammunition to say, hey, we need to keep this control over them. If not, they're going to hurt us in the long run. That's my opinion.
Right, because I've talked about that before. I've talked about this in a stand-up before as far as the slowdown. The fact of the matter is Amazon gives you quotas. You have a minimum amount of items that you have to move. Now, the reality of it is the items that are moved are far above that quota.
Yeah.
So the numbers that we produce as
2 or 3
hard
times as
workers
much.
for Amazon, what that does is it makes the managers look good. It makes them look good in this particular building. And at the end of the year, they receive a bonus. We don't receive a bonus. They receive a bonus because we're going above and beyond. So my suggestion, yes, initially would be do what they ask for. If they ask for 20 an hour, give them exactly 20 an hour. They will not make the numbers they need to make to get the bonuses that they receive at the end of the year. But like he's saying, he doesn't believe that that's a good idea because it could hurt us in the long run. But my point is the employees right now are delivering. They are working their behinds off and they are delivering for Amazon, a company that's making our net in 2021, $470 billion.
Yeah,
That's after expenses.
if you're making your bottom line and you're doing above, then the whole thing is I'm saying that they need to see your worth and they need to pay you for your worth. That's all I'm saying to you. And the thing is that we know that they come in and say, well, we have 2,700 pieces, which comes out to 270 pieces. And then all of a sudden we have 3,400 pieces. And they're looking for you to do the same thing in that small amount of time.
That's correct.
Now, our facility is a little unique because we drive these big pit machines. We have all these different kind of pit machines, and we don't have the 8,000 employees, 6,000 employees that these other facilities have. But our facility is huge because we have huge machines, and everything is manual. Everything is manual at where we at, and everything is heavy.
Yes.
Now, things are so heavy that every now and then you get a box, and you're gonna lift that box up, and that box is so light you almost hurt yourself.
Yes.
That's
I've
how
done
heavy stuff is.
I've done it. I've
And
done it.
No.
But yeah, I do want to also just go to Zach as well. So, you as a hard worker as well, like he said, he's been observing you running the docks and you do a very good job with what you do. How do you feel about how you're received or whether you're appreciated or not acknowledged?
Well, I certainly haven't been this year, that's for sure.
Right. Right. And you feel you deserve more money for what you do and recognition, not beyond a slice of pizza or a taco.
Did you enjoy the pizza, taco, ice cream? You enjoyed any of the candy, the stuff they give you
The
for your
waffles
hard
they
work?
made?
Ice cream.
Waffles?
Soda can, Oh, the games. You play all the games on TV.
Yeah, that'll satisfy us.
yeah, they give us everything except the raisins.
Yeah.
The raises is about that money, and they will spend a
To
fortune
keep from
to
paying you
keep from paying the workers that work so hard to produce for them.
and make them billions.
Without the employees, they could not function, but they do not appreciate the employees. And I'll say what I've said a long time. I've said to some of the managers, a happy team is a productive
Oh,
team. So
yes.
you get more production out of a team that's happy, and people are not happy right now. So that's a problem. This movement came about because of that. This movement,
You're bringing up a great point because
yeah,
stand up. They tell you, we hear you, we want to listen to you, but when you go to say something, they shut you down.
right.
You know,
Yeah, oh, we'll look into it.
yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes,
that's an open door policy.
Yeah.
They just close the
They
door.
close it right in your face.
that's true.
I just want to piggyback on what Dean's just said before we move on too
Yes.
far. You mentioned that we move a lot of heavy boxes.
Mhm.
I remember one day, especially heavy day, worked like a dog, and I came up to all my supervisors, and I said, "How many boxes did I move today?" Just curious. He gave me a number. Now, in our facility, everything is 50 pounds and above. So low end, I'm averaging maybe 60 pounds a box. I moved 7,000 pounds that day by hand.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that
yeah.
crazy?
That is crazy, but what I'm thinking about, what damage does it do long term?
That's right.
Because if I quit, if I do this for 10 years and move on, and then I have this mysterious back pain when I'm 60,
Exactly.
that's because of Amazon.
Correct.
So because they're not providing a career, they're providing a short-term job.
Right.
Correct.
They're not there to stick around for the long-term damage we do to our body, especially in our facility.
Right. I made a statement about that yesterday, and I said Amazon is like a spider, and what they do is they suck the insides out of you and leave your carcass, and then they get someone else to suck the insides out of them and leave their carcass, and they don't care what happens to you afterwards. Meanwhile, you're injured, you're sick, no pension, no longevity, you're done. So it's a shame.
And Vinny, you may want to ask your supervisor next week, how many boxes did I move today?
Yeah,
Yes.
I have to do that.
I never
yeah.
thought. Yeah, you should ask.
Yeah.
You should.
And multiply that by 60 or 50 or...
You should definitely do that.
Well, we know that one day he
Because-
did like 700.
Yeah.
I don't. Vinny's numbers are.
700.
Yeah.
And wait a minute, and only what? 400, 200 is required, right?
Yeah, 200
200.
standard.
Yes,
So
200 is
200
required.
is standard, and he moved
And he
700.
moved 700.
How about that for an excellent?
And that's on a daily
But-
basis.
And that's on a daily basis. So it does. Even if you don't feel it at the time, it will damage your body.
Oh, yeah.
It will
Yeah.
damage your body over a long
Yes.
period of time. Like Igor said, later you have all these problems, but Amazon really doesn't care about that. That's not their concern. They have a revolving door. You come in, you go out, and they just keep it moving so they can make their billions.
That's why they don't want to give us a career.
That's why they don't want to give a career. It's design. It's by design. But that's also why, piggybacking off of Dean's, is so important with this movement that we move on it, because it's like as soon as we educate a number of people that work for Amazon, you look up and those people are gone, and now there's a whole new group of people that we have to start over with. And if we don't move, we will just continuously do that. Our facility is relatively small compared to some of the other facilities. Alabama, I think, is 6,100. Detroit is in the thousands, maybe 4,000 or 5,000. So our facility is just not designed for this process to be long term. At some point, we're going to have to buckle down and say, okay, do the assessment and start getting ready for these petitions, because it's just too many people coming in and out. And and to keep starting over is just,
Right.
it's discouraging,
Yeah.
for lack of a better
Yes.
word.
I'm going to back up a little bit, back up to what Igor was talking about with injury. And I did a little research, and we're going to, in another episode, we're going to cover more of that in detail. But one of the things that we do know is that, muscle injuries. Now, we have these huddles that tell you how to squat and how to stand up, but how many times can you squat and stand up before it becomes an injury? All right, then back injuries. You got back injuries. I'm just going to go over the major points. I'm not going to get into the deep parts of it. And then cardiovascular problems. Standing on your feet long periods of time also gives you high blood pressure. High blood pressure can come to kidney failure. So there's a whole thing, but they don't address that. So we're not going to get deep into that, but we do know that there's a hazard on short term, not long term. I don't care how young you are. We have young people coming in getting hurt on the first day. You can tell anyone how to lift a box and lift it correctly, but you know what? We're not machines. We have blood. We don't have hydraulic fluid in us. And if those machines are missing any hydraulic fluid, they're not going to lift those
They're not gonna
boxes,
lift- Right.
and they're going to break. You can red tag a machine and put it out of service, but you can't do that to yourself. Come on now. Our brakes are ridiculous. You don't get any breaks. 15-minute breaks, and by the time you get to the break, my understanding is they say in the time that you walk to the break and come back, that's part of your break. All right, but if you're in a pit and you have to park that pit, and then you have to go to the break, that's more than almost 15 minutes right there.
Exactly.
You only got like 2 minutes left.
It's
Yeah.
it's not.
And then they want to get you off task for time off task, or you're stealing time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a disgrace, actually. The caller that we had yesterday, she chose the word, it's a disgrace. And she was, believe it or not, she was not an Amazon employee, but she probably has someone in her family who is. And she just feels the way Amazon treats their employees is an absolute disgrace. And I'm going to have to echo her on that. Now, I'm going to reiterate and give you guys this number. If you want to call in and join the conversation, the number is 888-304-4401. We invite you to call. We invite you to express your concerns. If you have questions and or even just comments, we would appreciate your input and your feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, and while you're talking about that, we also have an email address, avp3union@gmail.com. If you want us to respond to you in email form, please feel free to send us an email.
You said something also about a Skype.
I just tested it out and I'm having a little issue.
Okay.
Well, he's working on that as well. We also will be working on the website as well.
Hopefully, we're going to have Skype up and running again. avp3union@gmail on Skype. Hopefully, if it's up and running by today, one of us, probably me at least, is going to be on there from 8 to 9 p.m. So you can talk to us privately and personally. And then, I'm sorry to steal time. Another thing that's been really bothering me is that the employees are afraid to talk about the union.
Yes, without a doubt.
So there is no reason for fear, but if you are afraid and you have any questions, Skype or email, and bosses aren't gonna know.
That's right. Very good point, Igor, and I appreciate you giving that information. I think that's really, really important because the fear factor is real, and it is great. And the other number I just want to give out to you guys as well, there is 570-507-7020. Also, you can call with questions and concerns, and it would be private. But Igor brought out a very good point, and we could talk about that.
Yes.
That the fear, the intimidation factor, and the fear factor is real, and we have to figure out how we can break that barrier with the people.
Now, one of the things I want to say on that note there is that understand something. You have management going up to employees telling them to protect your signature. You have managers saying if you sign that there's going to be consequences. Be careful what you do with your signature. Yeah. Don't sign any union cards or petitions because then you lose control of talking to us, and there's going to be consequences. Well, anything that they say to you pertaining to union is a violation of the law. It's a violation of the federal law. There's a settlement letter, which is technically a restraining order from the National Labor Relations Board that has been ordered for them to comply by. They had to have it up in the facilities all across America as of I believe it's January 1st, but it's only for 60 days. It's still in effect as far as the letter is concerned. And it's a protection letter for people protecting you. Now, the other thing is, so if anyone says anything to you, it is a violation and it is harassment. Harassment. What you should do, if they mention union to you, tell them that it's harassment, do an incident report inside Amazon, notify safety, do the incident report inside of Amazon. Take your phone. You're not allowed to do photos in Amazon, but you can use your phone as a scanner to take a scan of that document that you signed. Anything you sign, you are entitled to a copy of that legal document. And we will take that as well, and we will follow with the National Labor Relations Board.
So I am just curious, anybody on this panel, has anyone on this panel been approached by a manager to discourage from union on this? Yes, you have.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not a manager. I don't know what he was.
Okay.
A stranger that came out of California and disappeared to California.
Okay. On that note,
I want to.
on that note,
They came up to me and they said, there may be something for you to sign. Be careful what you sign because your signature has power. And I didn't want to interrupt him because I really wanted to hear what the guy had to say.
Right.
So I could form a response. And when he finished speaking, I'm thinking, of course, my signature has power. And I'm going to use that power. I'm going to improve my life. And
there you go.
and there is no reason for me not to sign
There you go.
because my signature has power. You're absolutely right.
Right. Now,
What are you telling me?
Excellent.
Don't
excellent.
improve your life?
Right.
Yes.
Right. That's the problem I have a hard time with. And these are, and Vinny, how about you?
I have been
Some of
approached a while back. I think it was someone like green, more like a safety vest or so,
Okay.
saying like, oh, whatever you do, be careful what you sign. It could affect your work here. So I was like, okay. And I just listened.
Right.
And then he was like, if you have any questions, please let me know. Or
Right.
ask any of the supervisors or managers,
Mhm.
and we can help you.
Right. How about you, Zach?
I don't think they want
They're not
to.
gonna-
They don't want to hurt you.
Some people, they just won't.
Yeah, but let me add something to that real quick.
Yeah.
Any outside agency or consultant firm that Amazon hires that comes in from even other Amazon facilities, if they're coming into the facility, they're acting on the behalf of Amazon as an agent. And being that they're acting as an agent on behalf of Amazon, that means that it is a violation for them to mention union to you because they are agents of Amazon.
Yeah,
Not
they were
only-
very careful not to say the word union talking to me.
Right.
It
because-
doesn't matter. They say
because-
protecting your attention is complied.
Right, and the other important thing that we did learn about these outside consultants, also when they do come up to you and they talk to you, they, by law, have to report every employee they speak to. If they don't, they are absolutely in violation of the law. So even if they do approach you, they have to report it to the National Labor Relations Board.
That's
That
true.
is by
That's
law.
That is correct.
So you can challenge them that way. So make sure that because you spoke to me, don't forget to report it to the National Labor Relations
And
Board
make sure
because they
you-
don't expect for you to know that.
Yeah, make sure you ask for their names. That normally shuts them down. I had some conversations with some individuals there as well. And a lot of red coats came over there. But when I started talking about the National Labor Relations Board, they all ran. You know, and I'm pretty sure you've seen me talking to management, and a lot of other people you probably see me talking to
Yeah.
management.
That's it.
And I'm still working for Amazon.
Right, which is a good point, because the people that have fear, we want to give them courage through our courage. You know, we're here, we are putting our necks out, we're here,
You're on
Be-
the internet, on
we
camera.
are on the internet, we're live streaming on several platforms, we are unafraid. We are not intimidated, and we won't be intimidated because by law, they cannot do anything unjust to us as a result of our interest in forming a union. So again, Igor gave up information so you guys can reach out privately if you are afraid to talk publicly. I've given you a number that you can call. But it's really, there's power in numbers.
Is this number for our warehouse or generally union?
That's for us.
Oh,
That's
This
for
one's
us.
for us.
Yeah, I think it's assigned to me right now. So
Yeah.
the call comes to me.
Yeah.
But let
yours
me
is-
let me say something very important on what you just saying pertaining to the union is concerned. Whenever you have a situation of someone saying anything to you, if it's reported to us, we will, if you do the affidavits, file a charge against Amazon. You know, you will do that. Last thing is the at will thing. If you are involved with union activity, guess what? The at will thing is out the window. They have to have just cause now. So they can no longer just fire you at will because they want to, because you're protected under the National Labor Relations Board under the settlement letter. You cannot be fired because you're participating in union activity. This is a court order, all right? And it is a federal court order, and they take it very seriously. We have been on the phone with the National Labor Relations Board and with agents, illegal agents, that have been taking affidavits from us.
And
found charges.
to add on to that, we currently have charges filed against AVP3, just so you know.
And to add on to that, there have been cases for Starbucks. People have been fired and forced to be hired back because they were fired for wrong reasons. So it's not just empty words. There have been cases of people I'm not sure if anybody for Amazon, but for Starbucks, definitely.
Right.
Right.
They
absolutely.
fire people, they say, nope, that's unjust, and they hire them right
That's
back.
right.
Well, on that note, that's also part of our discussion because with the AFL-CIO, Starbucks is on board, and a lot of different industry are on board. So it's not just Amazon. There's other that's on board that is being represented by the AFL-CIO.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He says, like I said, there's power in numbers. And, well, we have a phone call. Let's take this. Oh, I guess we lost them. All right. Back to our conversation. Okay. So
Please
this
call back.
yes, please do call back. Call back 1-888-304-4401. We do open the phone lines and we do invite you to join us in this discussion. Thank you. Round AVP3 Roundtable Union Talk. All right, so let's continue. There's been some good information.
Let's get into how
given.
you know when the bosses are
Oh.
violating the law or breaking the law. Let's talk about that.
How do you know when the boss is breaking the law?
Since
Well,
we're on that note anyway.
yeah, well, the boss cannot spy on union activities. They can't even create the impression that they are spying on their activities. They cannot photograph or record employees engaged in peaceful union activities. They also cannot poll employees to determine the extent of the support for the union, which is kind of what we were talking about when they're coming up to you. That's illegal. They can't question employees about their own co-workers' union activities or sympathies. But there's several things. There's a whole
Keep going.
list
You're giving out good
of
information. Keep
things
going,
that the
keep
boss
going.
cannot do. The boss cannot promise employees benefits if the employees reject the union. They cannot imply a promise of benefits by soliciting grievances from employees during a union organizing campaign. Now that's when they started doing the roundtable talks. That falls under that. That was illegal because they were soliciting, your grievances. What can we do better? What is wrong or whatever?
False
can we
promises,
change?
false hope promises.
False hope promises. Right. Exactly.
That's when we got the cheap games.
Yeah.
And the tacos,
Tacos,
the ice cream,
waffles.
candy.
Pizza.
Last said about the pizza.
Oh, yeah,
That was
pizza.
Oh, we feel so appreciated. So there's just, they can't even prohibit workers from talking about the union during work time if
That's
they
crazy.
allow workers to discuss other causes. Now that's interesting also because we discussed this a little bit last night, how a lot of times when they do the like the ice cream and the waffles and the pizza is during our break time.
Mhm.
So like you brought up a very
Yes.
good point is they do that. They're in an area where we have our own time to discuss the union or discuss whatever we want, and it
That's what
suppresses that
management is
by
there.
management being there,
Yes.
right, being present, because their presence, they want their presence to intimidate.
Yes.
But there are some people, like you say, you've been approached by a consultant, but there are some people they absolutely won't approach you because once you are educated on your rights and they know your rights, chances are they're not going to approach you. If I come back, I will dare one of them to approach me. I'm serious. I wish they would because I'm well aware of my rights and I'm going to shut them down right on the spot.
At one point, they had 4 or 5 red coats, red vests, walking together, And then you still got the regular red coats running the floor and running Vista. But then you have these other red coats that's going around, walking around, and to be intimidated. Some people, when they see that red coat come around, like, oh my God, you know,
Exactly.
and they get intimidated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're picking people off and just talking to them.
Yes.
Side by side.
Right. Because they either are not educated about their rights, or they either know their rights, but they're still afraid, or they just don't know at all. You know, because a person who is well informed and has confidence is simply not going to allow that.
You know, they can stand up against
They're
it.
just not going to allow it.
Yeah, and we do know that in terms of us talking amongst each other, and as far as union is concerned, we have put that to the test. When we stood out in front of Amazon and the site leader came out to us, and he says, I just want you to be safe, just so you can stand on the sidewalk. I know you want to talk to your coworkers. Big respect to them. But they know. Then we had the situation where they sent, in the evening time, they sent security out.
Oh, yeah.
And I told him, I said, well, go tell that manager to come out and talk to us. And when he came out, because the security is like, you can't be here, you got to go. And so he went back inside with his tail between his legs. And then he sent out the manager. The manager said, hey, guys, just want you to be safe. Just stand over here. We don't need to get hit by a car or anything like that. They know. You know, especially as soon as they come out and say, is this harassment? And they start putting their toes between their legs and trying to reassure you, no, this is not harassment. Just want to make sure you guys are safe and okay. Is there anything we can do for you?
Just want to make sure
Yeah.
you're safe.
And I said to him, yes, give us a raise. But yes, you can talk during your break times in the break room. They don't want you to talk during the time if you're working on a machine or working,
Right.
then you should be focused on your job and doing your job. But however, if it's doing normal conversational break, you can discuss union. You can.
Absolutely.
We had an incident. We're not bringing up any names, whereas someone got a little personal with my family and started talking to my family members, my household members, and we did file charges. And then as a result, Amazon said they are not supervisors. A PA is not a supervisor. They are an associate worker, just like you are.
They say
So
PAs
PAs are
same
not
level.
supervisors as per Amazon, even though they monitor, even though they give you
Orders.
assignments and
Tasks,
orders
orders.
and tasks. They're saying they're not. But we know under the law, it fits the description of a supervisor. And that's a charge that has been filed, and they're going to have to answer for that.
Yes, we did file charges on that. So we are serious about that, you know. So the main thing is to try to figure out how people can not be intimidated by, quote, the boss. Because again, just the intimidation factor is also illegal. There's so many things on here. They can't threaten employees with adverse consequences, such as closing the workplace, a loss of benefits. They just, it's illegal. It's against the law. So I think the education part of it is very important in understanding what your rights are,
Right.
and what they can and cannot do. And then once you understand that, have the courage to advocate for yourself. Stand up. Don't let the boss come to you and say and address the union at all. And you can say it and still be what's the word, subordinate. So okay, we have a call. Hang on. Hi, this is Tracy Stilettos on Gynesis Radio with AVP3 Roundtable Union Talk. Who am I speaking with?
Hello, is anyone there?
It's a delay, remember.
Yeah, they're not there.
Okay, hello?
They're not there.
Are
How
you?
are you?
Oh.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. How are you?
I'm doing all right. This is Todd.
Hi, Ty. Thank you for calling in.
Y'all doing a great. Yeah, y'all doing a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate that, and thank you for listening. We appreciate that. Do you have anything you want to add to what we've said so far?
No, I sent Dean a text message. I think he should read that.
Okay, we will have him do so.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm gonna go and let y'all finish on the show.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ty. Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate that and your feedback.
Thank you.
All right. All
Okay.
right. Bye.
Okay, so let's let Deems, you see the text? If not, we'll go on. We're gonna talk a little bit quickly while you do that. We're gonna talk a little bit about union dues because I know union dues is a concern for a lot of people, and one reason they might be anti-union is because of the union dues. But I'll just read it from here first, and it says, how much are union dues? It says, we, the members, will decide our local rate and how to spend it. Union dues will not start until AVP3 workers have voted on and ratified our first union contract. We will see up front what we will gain for our union dues. So you will have your raise before we implement any union dues.
Yes. And we decide how much, and we decide where it goes, and we are transparent about it. So anybody who wants to know where is my X amount of dollars a week going, okay, 2 weeks going, we can show you a spreadsheet or a breakdown to make sure that what's left, what's there, what's not there.
Correct.
And you get to know nobody put it in their bank account.
Yeah.
And nobody spent it on a Lamborghini.
Yeah,
Right.
and the other thing to
It's
add
true.
on to that is what are the union dues used for? And that is a very broad question because it's used to protect you, it's used to go for legal defense for you, it's used to create vacant scenarios. Let's say that you have a scenario where you have a problem with your mortgage that you can't pay it. Well, the union is there to help you in any way that we can. And if we have union dues, then we can utilize that money to help you out. More importantly, union dues will not happen until a contract, a legal binding good faith contract is in effect. And then there's a certain period after that that union dues will take place.
A
Now,
contract that's voted on and agreed on
Right,
by
that's-
all employees. So
Right,
everybody has a
correct.
say in whether or not we approve that contract.
exactly.
now, real roughly, now
That's very
the whole
important.
key thing is that when you look at union dues versus pay, well, let's look at it this way. Right now, let's say your cap is $20.50. All right. Well, you know, if you get to be $33 an hour, I think 50 cents an hour won't hurt on $33 or $30 an hour.
Correct.
So, with that being said, more than likely, you will find that very, very happy life. Now, the other thing is that, as was mentioned earlier, union jobs normally pay more money. And that's one of the reasons why. And there's other reasons why people feel that they don't want union, and we can talk about that also. But most importantly, on the beginning interim of a union, its intentions is to help out everybody. And in the beginning stages, that does happen and it will happen because you have a say, so you get to vote on who's who, you get to be involved, we're transparent, and it's all about the members because you are the union.
You
You're the
get to
body.
vote on who represents you. You know,
Correct. That is right. Exactly. All the officers, all the positions and everything. And like I said before in the beginning, union members on average earn about 30% more than non-union workers. And I
and you
think
don't have a say in who represents you now because nobody does.
it's exactly. So, those are just some of the obvious benefits of having a union. So, Deems,
Yeah, we do know that. Well, if you don't know, Teamsters is trying to represent Amazon workers. All right, we had discussions about that with the organizers, and they're not too happy about it because of what it represents. And this is where people get the thing of saying something coming from the outside coming in. We're not teaming up with Teamsters. We're not teaming up with any entity. We're starting our own entity where we are in control because we know where the politics lies with Teamsters. No disrespect to Teamsters, but we know where the politics lies. And so let's not get afraid and say something from the outside is coming in. That is also the rumor that Amazon is spreading that this outside entity is coming in. No, it's the workers inside of Amazon that forms the union and that are the union. Workers are the union.
So with that being said, I want to actually read this collective bargaining. So what happens is once we win our election, Amazon by law must bargain in good faith with our union over everything to do with work, including wages, benefits, safety, seniority, bidding, and much more. The term bargaining in good faith is enforceable. It's an enforceable legal standard. It is not mere words. We make the improvements and continue to build on those improvements into the future. The company no longer has absolute power and control. We, the workers, have a real and powerful voice at work. So that's what the collective bargaining will get us.
We have 9 minutes left for real.
9 minutes
Yesterday I
left, really?
quoted different times, but we do have 9 minutes left. So what we want to do is really give encouragement to the workers of Amazon, and we want to encourage them. Not that they're going to be insubordinate towards anybody,
Correct.
but we also want to recognize that there are some good managers.
Yes.
We want to recognize that there are some managers that will try to help you and try to
Accommodate you.
accommodate you, right?
Yes.
So we want to acknowledge those managers, not by name, but we just want to acknowledge them.
Absolutely.
Then you have other managers that come in like slave masters and going to crack a whip
Yes.
and scare you because they're a high position in leadership. And they don't give a damn about you, and they let you know that during your break time because they're telling you if you don't do this and do that, and this time to that time you're stealing time, and we losing money here and losing money there. I breathe, I have blood, I have a heart, and I get sick. But you don't talk about those things. But you talk about your numbers. But you get that paid. You get paid pretty
Not
good.
to mention we don't have
No.
sick time.
Oh, we don't have sick
Amazon
time.
does not have sick time.
If you get injured, they send you home and you don't get paid. You got to go home and
Use your time.
use your time. And that's crazy.
Yes, it
That's
is.
crazy.
It's
Or they try to find something for you to do to still get something out of you. Remember, they're the spider that sucks the inside out of you. So they're going to get whatever they can get out of that and leave that carcass dry.
it's
So
true.
So that there, I
Right.
definitely wanted to.
Right. And there's a lot of issues. We talked a little bit yesterday about training. Training is inadequate.
But
It is.
remember, we need to also stress that we're not against Amazon.
We're not against Amazon. And see, that's the thing we do want to stress and make clear. We are absolutely 100% not against Amazon. We are just for us as far as better quality of life and fair work conditions. So this is not a battle between us and even just management. We are not against management at all. But we are fighting for a cause. We are fighting for what we believe is the right thing and the fair thing to do. Now, if there becomes an issue between management and ourselves, it will be something that management has created. But we, the employees, have, in fact, management is underpaid. So they have their own set of issues.
They have their own
They have their own set of issues. They're not, I don't believe they're treated well either.
They're not.
But
In
In
that
fact, I want to
conversation.
say something
Yeah.
to the management. You may not, if we get a union and we get a raise, you're next. There's no way I'm gonna make more money than you.
correct, right.
So if anybody should be on the side of the union, is the management. Because once we get our contract and we get our $3 an hour raise, you're gonna get yours.
Right. That makes sense, and I didn't even think of it
Mhm.
that way, because they can't make less than, what would be the purpose of the
Well, we're
position?
not striving for
We are-
$3.
No, we're not, we're
We're
trying
not
$3 an hour.
That's not
That was
We're
an
not
example.
doing that.
But I'm just talking to whichever management is watching right now
Yes,
or listening.
yes,
Our raise is your raise.
correct.
You may not want to fight the unionization that hard. Still do your jobs, just not that part.
Yes, yes. I didn't know, did you want to address the message or?
Well, I did. That was a Teamsters message. That was-
Oh, and that's the message you
That
would
was-
bring. Okay, that was important. But yeah, good point, Igor. Very good point. It's a trickle up effect.
Rising tide raises all boats. And if somebody's still on the fence about voting for a union, what do you have to lose? The only thing we have to lose is our poverty.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go.
That is right now we're all stuck in, let's be honest, a replaceable dead end job.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah,
I want more than that out of my life.
so
And
I,
that's why I'm here. That's why I'm on the radio. That's why I'm on the internet.
so I challenge everybody, the listeners, the Amazon workers, to come together, unite together for this important cause, which is to develop your self-worth and be compensated for your self-worth and respected for your self-worth, because the problem is we are getting older and we're going to get older, and there is no pension. All right, 401k is a joke.
Right.
What do you have to look for after they suck all the insides out of your carcass?
Back then.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure Amazon knows that, hey, we're making you billions and we're going to keep on making you billions, but can we at least be able to put gas in our car? Can we at least be able to eat so that we can continue to make you billions? Can we at least take a vacation sometimes?
Right.
We don't have no vacation time, truly,
No.
to be able to go out and say, hey, we need a break, a stress break,
Yeah.
and come back and make you more money.
Right.
You know,
Right.
can you help us help you?
Right.
And stop beating us like we, did something wrong when we're making you billions?
Yeah.
You're trying to intimidate us to
Yes.
work for you.
Right.
You don't need to do that. We're people.
If you drive an SUV, it takes 2 hours of work for you to get to work,
Right.
and gas money.
Is that something? Right. Right. Inflation, the cost of living is not matching inflation. And Amazon has jumped on that bandwagon of inflation, even though they make billions and billions. They've gone up 5% for inflation's sake. Here in the States, in Europe, they're going up 31%, but wages aren't going up.
There's no
Do the
cost
math.
of living increase at
There's no
all.
cost of living increase at
Right.
all.
We have 3 minutes left. So any closeouts,
Yeah.
please
okay.
get those in.
Right. Zach, you want to say anything on behalf of yourself or your brother or anyone?
I think just everything's been covered really.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you being
We
here. I do
definitely
want to say
appreciate
that.
you being here. And we're going to stand together. We need to stand together and not leave somebody standing by themselves if management is speaking to them for whatever reason.
Yeah, try
We need
have
to
a
stand
witness.
there with them. Make sure you have a witness.
Yeah, we need to come together.
Yes.
A big unit.
Yeah.
Families.
Yes,
Absolutely,
you need to,
absolutely.
and that's when they know that you have support. They're not going to support you, and they give you false hope. Round table false hope. They listen to your problems and we're going to make things better for you. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, we're catching hell. All right.
So Igor, you have any last words you want to say?
I just want to say that, stress again, that the union that's coming in is homegrown. It is not from outside. There is nothing to fear about talking about a union at work. You will not get punished for it. You cannot get punished for it. And if you do, they're going to catch hell for it.
Yes.
We got 1 more minute.
Absolutely. Benny, you want to have any last words? Or do you have any last words? We're at
I
60
think
seconds.
everything was covered.
Okay, so I think we're gonna close it out. So we just want to say thank you all for joining us today for AVP3 Roundtable Union Talk. I think we had a very productive discussion, and we will see you next time. And the last thing I do want to do is thank Mr. Terry Pickering, the founder, owner, and CEO of Gynesis Radio, for allowing us this platform. With that, I want you guys to have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Hold on. Stop this. Stop. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
God bless you. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.